Hello, Libra, and welcome to The Story of I Am, your 2020 reading, mid-year reading for Libra. My name is Eric Francis Coppolino here with a little bit of astrology for you at this most unusual time in personal history for you and world history. And I'm aware that we are all in a situation where we don't know where it is headed, and also that we seem to be at the mercy of forces outside of our control. My role as an astrologer, teacher, journalist, whatever you want to think of me as, is to make available to you let's say, the forces within your control, and as St. Francis seems to have said, the wisdom to know the difference between what you have influence over and what you don't have influence over. Okay, so one of the most exciting things about this time in your life, though it might not always feel so exciting, is that you have Chiron working through your seventh house. That would be Aries, and this is a thing that began in 2018. It took full effect in 2019, and it is going to be part of your life story as a very direct thing, influencing your relationships for quite a long time. But for the next 6 years, approximately, Chiron is going to be working its way across your relationship house, Aries. And though the immediate, theme, the kind of breaking news of the astrology right now, is Mars retrograde in Aries. To me, that is talking about the necessary preparation involved in working with Chiron in Aries. In other words, Mars retrograde is a thing that's designed to get your attention and focus your mind on certain issues and certain approaches to life and a certain way of looking at your relationships that in some ways may not seem very Libran because of the amount of individual autonomy that it is calling forth, and then at the same time, it is very Libran in that we are looking at astrology that places a very strong emphasis on relationships. Only the thing that Chiron is doing in your relationships is that it is holding you to a high focus on the theme of healing and placing the burden of communication onto you. Now, that may seem unusual because the planet Chiron is in your opposite sign, and that would seem to create a condition that would place the burden of communication on others. I don't see it that way. And I think that people need to take a high degree of responsibility for how they feel in a relationship, what they say in relationships, for the existence of the relationship at all in their life. And we are not in a time of history where there is very much of an emphasis on autonomy and on personal volition or on self-actualization. It's just not the way that we have been conditioned to think over the past generation. Really, generation meaning going back 30 years. 30 years ago would place us in 1980, and in 1980 the world was all about the idea of self-actualization that was so popular in the 60s and 70s was pretty much gone by the time Ronald Reagan took office, and so there's been all of this conditioning. A classic example being that the concept of sex education, right? It's a very important concept to teach people about their bodies, and this is not about like how to shoot pornos, but by the late 1970s, early 1980s, particularly into the mid 1980s, the emphasis had shifted to a kind of a religious education, telling people that the only thing you need to know about sex is don't do it till you get married.